Hello, everyone, and welcome to a somewhat different type of video. I decided I'm going to start doing some of these unscripted rambles now and again, just because it changes things up, I guess, and it's a little more intimate than what I normally do, I guess. So anyway, today I'm going to be rambling about nostalgia, which I think everyone knows about nostalgia. Everyone gets it, and assuming you're not like 8. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, everyone has that thing that they used to like that they look back on fondly. I mean, for me, I have Zelda Ocarina of Time. Uh, you know, Sailor Moon. Yeah, I don't know why it took me so long to think of that. Stuff like that. Um, I don't know. It's all cool stuff. I still like it. I don't know. Sailor Moon's more of an aesthetic thing, really, nowadays. But Zelda's still fun. Except Zelda 2. No. Nah. Some people like it. I don't. Anyway. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think it's bad. I feel like a lot of people kind of put things that they're nostalgic for in this sort of category of, oh, I only liked it because it was good to me once, but then they'll just sort of assume that it's like little kid baby stuff and it's not cool anymore. Which is sometimes true, I guess. Like some of the anime dubs that came out when I was a kid are not very good anymore. But that's fine. I don't know. It's just kind of the time, really. A lot of dubs back in the 90s were kind of shit. I don't know. But, I don't know. Where am I going with this? I don't know. Fuck it. It's a ramble. Who cares? Yeah. So, you have people who go, they look at Ocarina of Time, to go back to Zelda, and they go, oh, it's not a good game. It's a bad game. It hasn't aged well, which is fair because that's really subjective. Even the whole aging well thing is very subjective, even though some people might say otherwise. And that goes for any game. Like, some people will play a game and say, this hasn't aged well, this isn't fun to play. But it's just, it's subjective. Everyone has their own opinions on what's fun to play. But yeah, anyway, people will talk about like Ocarina of Time or a lot of, N64 games especially. And then they'll say like, oh, if you like this game, you're just blinded by nostalgia. Like, this game isn't actually good. You're an idiot. Which, first of all, rude. Let me like things. Thank you. Second of all, I don't know. Like, everyone has their own preferences. Like, I'm sure I've seen tons of people that like are in their 20s or 30s and they pick up Ocarina of Time or some other old Zelda game for the first time. They're like, holy fuck, this game's amazing. I love it. And I'm sure there were lots of kids who hated Zelda, and just what you like. I think really what it comes down to, at least in that specific thing, is that a lot of people like Zelda as a kid, but there's a lot of people who don't enjoy games that don't have that modern feel. So when they go back to more retro stuff, it feels weird and they don't like it, which is fair. I don't really blame them. Especially if you're somebody who plays like a ton of modern games, I imagine it could really take you out of your element. I do not play a lot of modern games. The most modern game I played was probably fucking Undertale, maybe. Probably. No, Deltarune, I guess. Yeah, that's the most modern game I've played. Does it even count? It's like a 16-bit RPG. I don't know. It came out last year, so it counts. Anyway, what the fuck was I talking about? I don't know. Sorry for the cussing. I'm not gonna stop doing it, but yeah, I'm probably gonna record like a warning at the beginning. So anyway, whatever. Continuing on. I don't know, but I think nostalgia is cool. Because even if you can go back to something and be like, wow, this thing sucks and I hate it, but I fucking love it because I used to love it. I think that's cool. I mean, like, I think, being able to find joy in something, even if it's a not really good thing, is neat. Like, being able to find the good in something is always good. Kind of like Sailor Moon. Like, I've met a lot of people that still like adore Sailor Moon as like story and stuff. And to be fair, I only know the anime, and the original subbed is a bit better. And for all I haven't read the manga, I know like what happens later in the story. But I don't know. Maybe the manga's like super fucking awesome, and I should read it. I might sometime. Anyway, but yeah. So I mean, like, I still like the aesthetic. Like, it's a cool thing. I have a little selfie stick that looks like Usagi's little wand thingy. I might put a picture up. Maybe probably not. Anyway, what was I saying? I don't even know. God, I'm so bad about getting off track. That's actually why I decided to do these rambles, because I feel like I'm just gonna go so off the walls. And I mean, you're not. I assume you're not here to actually listen to what I have to say. You're just here to have background noise. So you're welcome. Anyway, nostalgia. I guess we'll go back to the main concept. Crack my bones. Here, hold on. Actually, real quick, I need some water. I'm gonna leave this in for you, the three of you that likes that swallowing video. You know who you are. Gently put the water down. That wasn't gently. Moving on. So, but yeah, I don't know. Nostalgia's cool. And I don't think there's anything wrong with nostalgia or liking things for nostalgia. I mean, I'll put on games all the time and just be like, hey, I'm going to play the first like hour of this game, and then I'm going to get bored, and that's all and then I'm going to turn it off. And that's totally cool. And I think it's really fun. And it can be like really relaxing and therapeutic to just like do this thing like that you have memorized or just know really well because you played it a bunch as a kid. Like I'll play the first Ocarina of Time. I'll play through the inside of the Great Deku Tree, and it only takes me like, I don't know, 10-15 minutes to get to like beat Goma. And as soon as I do, I just like get up and I turn off the console, and I'm just like, well, that was cool. I don't know, it's just like a nice little break from life, I suppose. Receding into like the ultimate comfort zone where you're just having a good time with this thing that you've liked for, in my case, like 18, 17 years. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it extends beyond games, obviously. That's just most of what I did as a kid was play games and watch shows on TV. Like Pokemans, for example. I watched a crap ton of Pokemon as a kid. I had Pokemon underwear, pajamas, all that stuff. I had ton of Pokemon cards, even though I didn't even know how to play the game. But I mean, who did really? Besides that one nerdy kid. Fuck that kid. You know who you are. Refreshing. Let's try to put it down quieter this time. Okay. Anyway. Pokemon, yeah. No, but I watched a crap ton of Pokemon, but when I watch the show now, I mean, I don't hate it, but the only joy I really get out of it is like, yeah, this thing I used to like. Which again, just like directing and dub directing in general has a lot of issues that I'm sure you already know if you are big on anime. But I mean, anime in general has tons of issues. I kind of read a lot more manga now. Not to say anime's bad, but I don't know. I feel like I've just gotten to a point where I usually prefer the original source material. So if it's a light novel, I'll go read the light novel like I'm doing with Rising of the Shield Hero. And I am learning a lot of things that are getting changed in the anime. Don't know how the manga is. I haven't read the manga. I didn't really see the point of reading the manga and the light novel. I've heard the manga's pretty good, but I don't know. You'd have to look into that yourself. Anyway, Shield Hero is new. That's not nostalgic, unless you're already on like the 20th volume of the light novel, I think. In which case, it might the first volume might be, I don't know, nostalgic. Yeah, I guess things can be nostalgic even if they're not that old. Which is sort of an interesting thing because I always felt like nostalgia is sort of like a sine wave for me. Where it's like it like goes up and down and up and down. So like a thing I liked X amount of years ago or months ago or whatever is like at the peak of nostalgia, and when I look at it, when I go back to it, I'm like, heck yeah, dude, this was freaking amazing. I love it. It was so cool. Like, man, I'm just so happy that I found this thing when I did, and blah blah blah, and I get sucked back into it. Within like 6 months later, I could see that thing and I could be like, yeah, that's cool, I guess. I don't really care. Which, like it kind of has peaks and valleys. It also probably just depends on like what I'm really like feeling at the time. Like sometimes I'm into this genre of thing, or I'm into like this form of media, and then other times I'm not. Yeah, I don't know. Nostalgia's a very strange thing. I've never actually like looked up the science on nostalgia. I probably should have done that before I did this video, or just like read like some Wikipedia article or some jazz. Like jazz. Yeah, I don't know. But it's a ramble. This isn't some like scientific study TED Talk. Welcome to my TED Talk. So who cares? Whatever. Like, fuck it. Mouse sounds. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know where to go next. Let's see. Mario 64. That's right. Another video game. It's okay. Honestly, I feel like it's kind of it's like Ocarina of Time. Like I'll open it up and I'll usually play up to the first Bowser fight. And I mean I have beat it on a few occasions. I've never been a fan of the last two worlds. The Rainbow Road or whatever type world and then the one where you're in the clock. I think they're both really neat, but I don't know. I guess I just never liked them. I guess they're so like they're at that point in the game where it's not like a cool world to explore and it's just like one big platforming challenge, which is fine, I get, because difficulty. But that's the thing I like about all the first set of worlds is that you jump in and it's more of like running around this open little place, and like there's just random challenges thrown about, but it feels all really connected. But when you get to the end of the game, it doesn't feel, none of the painting worlds feel like worlds. They just feel like obstacle courses, which again, I get why, but it's just less interesting to me. But no, I mean, like, Bomb on Battlefield is super cool. Just really well put together area. Dire Docks used to scare the crap out of me. That eel. Oh, as a kid, I never actually got any of the stars out of Dire Docks, except for there's one where you like swim to the very back of the area and you go in a cave and you have to like open the chests in the right order. And I only did that one because you could avoid the eel generally when you did that one. And I know there's other ones you can get without going in the water, like the red coin one and the one where you shoot yourself up into like that little cliff up on the top left. You know what I'm talking about if you've done it. But I didn't explore as a kid, which is weird because even as a kid, that was always my favorite song, was the water level song from Mario 64. Also, the hazy maze, I remember, freaked me out. Like jumping into like that oil puddle or whatever it was scared me. Like it just was so intimidating as a kid. And the whole place had like that creepy vibe, which now I actually really like that place, even though some of the challenges are really obtuse and lame, in my opinion. But you know, that was it happens, I guess. But the overall atmosphere of the level is just really neat to me. Just like this big cave to explore. It feels like really mysterious. I don't know. Man, welcome to this Mario 64 ramble. Sorry, guys. But hey, if you're getting a long video, hopefully it's relaxing. Anyway, I don't know. I'm trying to think of other media. I mean, I guess I didn't really read as a kid. Like, I had Dr. Seuss. I think everyone had Dr. Seuss. Actually, speaking of getting scared by stuff, there was this one. Dang it, I can't remember the name of it. I'm not gonna look it up. But it was about like this dude who was getting chased by a pair of pants. And it's super silly and you know, Dr. Seuss, but as a kid, it always like freaked me out. I think I was just an easily scared kid, to be honest. But it's okay. Yeah, I say a lot, not to do the thing. So sorry if you don't like those things. Too bad. Fuck you. Oops, that was actually probably loud. It's okay though, because I edit my audio. So sorry if that like was annoying. Anyway. Yeah. Oh, also I read the Chronicles of Narnia, but that was like middle school when I read those. So, well, it's still a long time ago. It's like 10 years ago, or more, depending on how old I was when I read them. I didn't read the whole thing, though. I only read the first 3 books, I think. The Magician's Apprentice, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, which is the one everyone knows, because it's had, like, I think it's had 2 different movies. I could be wrong. And then there was Prince Caspian or something like that. Yeah. No, I read 4, because then I think the 4th one is the one where they're on the boat. Or, and there's a talking mouse. I don't really remember much, honestly. I only remember the first 2 books. Because I remember the first book caught me off guard because I actually read it. It was actually the last of the 4 books I read. And it just really threw me off because it had such like a different tone. I've heard that it was the last book he actually wrote, and I can't really remember much about it, except the sort of weird, mysterious atmosphere it had to me back then. It just felt so different, but it was really cool. Yeah, and then of course I remember The Lion, the Witch, and Wardrobe because I've seen the book or I've seen the movies a bunch. There was also a game, and it sucked. I hated it. I only played it because my friend owned it, and we used to have a Let's Play channel, and he thought it'd be fun. I mean, it was okay, I guess. No, it was terrible. What am I talking about? It was an awful game. Anyway, there's also a Series of Unfortunate Events game that we played. That was bad too. At least I thought so. More water. Tasty. I actually never read Series of Unfortunate Events as a kid. My sister owned all the books hardback, which is really cool. I only read I read the first 4 books, I believe. Yeah, because book 4 is the Academy, right? I don't remember the name of the Academy. But yeah, that's the last book I read. But I watched the Netflix show and it was really cool and it was fun. It was neat to finally get to finish the story. As far as I know, it's basically all very accurate. Unlike Game of Thrones, apparently I've read the first 2 books. Game of Thrones learned recently that apparently the show goes in a very different direction at a certain point. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna ever watch the show. But at the same time, I guess I'll never finish the books because he's gonna die before he can even finish the 6th book, let alone the 7th one. I think he's working on the 6th. I don't know. Like I said, I only read the first 2. Now we're way off the nostalgia train. I don't know. I guess the whole point of this thing was just to be like, hey, nostalgia's cool. And there's nothing wrong with being nostalgic for a thing and liking things only for this nostalgic purposes. Because like I said, like way back, like enjoying things is just good in general. Like finding something to enjoy about a thing is good. Not to say that you have to enjoy everything, because I think if you beat yourself up about like and try to force yourself to like every single thing you ever encounter, you're probably just gonna make yourself feel bad. Anyway, whatever. Some people probably like every single thing they encounter. I don't know. Trying to think of some of the things I'm nostalgic for, but I guess I'm not really nostalgic for that much because most media, honestly, I experienced through other people. Like, because I had video games, but I only played a lot of the mainstream games. Like I had all the Kirby games up through the N64. So of course I had Crystal Shards, which is a nightmare fuel. But most Kirby games are, I've come to realize. They're just eldritch horror for kids, and I love it. Yeah, I don't know. I had Pokemon Stadium. Pokemon Stadium 2 is vastly superior. I've tried to play emulators of it, but they're always like have a lot of texture problems. It's very upsetting. But the game still works, so I guess that's fine. But it just takes me out of it, I guess. I thought about getting an N64, but I'm pretty sure like getting an N64 is like $100 something, and then each individual game could range anywhere from like guessing like $30 to $80, depending on the game, how rare it is. I don't know, it just doesn't feel worth it, honestly. I don't know. That's just me. I'm not to diss people who do that, because I mean it's your money. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've thought about buying Game Boys and stuff as well, but the same thing applies. I don't think I would use it enough to justify the money that it would cost me. I do wish I hadn't gotten rid of a lot of my consoles, because I remember the only reason I don't have my N64 and PlayStation 1 still is because I traded them for my GameCube. Though I do not regret getting a GameCube. I fucking love the GameCube. It is my baby. I am definitely in that group of people that stands by the GameCube controller being superior to all of the controllers. I kind of don't like that all controllers these days are just like variants of the same thing. Like, I get that everyone's kind of like just decided like, oh, this is how controllers should be. The main difference is that where the left joystick is, whether it's at the top or at the bottom. I prefer Sony's way of doing it, where they have the D-pad up top and then the joystick at the bottom. That's just me, though. I also just like Sony controller feel better. Xbox controllers always feel bulky. Same with like the Wii, the Nintendo Switch and Wii U Pro controllers. I'm not a huge fan of them, but I have a friend that's very adamant on the Switch Pro controller being amazing. So, it's just subjective and all that jazz. Yeah, I don't know. The GameCube was cool, and I like it. Even though I feel like I missed some cool games, but I did get to play Cube of War, and that's a game that most people, at least that I've talked to, haven't played. But God, that was a weird game. It's pretty lame, though. Well, I mean, it's a fun game, but there are lame things about it, like the fact that you can't beat the game without, like, because you start off and you're the pig, I think, at first. I don't remember, but you go through 3 forms and you basically play the same game again, but it's slightly harder on repeat, which is a little lame. Feels kind of like a cop-out. But it's not completely the same. Like, I don't know how to explain it, really. It's been a minute since I played the game. But basically, you play the game up to a certain point, and then it's like, okay, and then you have baby, and you play as baby. And then you play the game at a certain point, and then you have baby, and you play as baby. And then the third time through, when you go to has baby, it's like, oh, you can't play as fourth baby until you've collected... I'm pretty sure you have to get every single, like, different, like, power upgrade thingy, which you get from beating certain enemies. So if you don't kill every enemy and like eat them to get their power, the game will just like stop you at a certain point and be like, nope, go back and do it again, which is super lame. That's always been my problem with like collectathons and stuff, is I feel like they start off pretty lenient. Like, oh, you only need to get like Mario, for example, like you only need 10 stars to go to the first Bowser world. And then, so that's like, I mean, if you're like me, you get like 4 just from Bomb on Battlefield, and they don't really take that long. And then you go to Dire Docks to get like 3 or 4, and then you go and do the penguin sliding, and then bam, Bowser World. And then you have to get 30 for the next one, which you do get a few new worlds, but I don't know. I feel like after there's always that first roadblock that doesn't feel very hard to get over, but then after that, it always feels like it's a pain in collectathon type games, at least for me. I don't know. I know a lot of people like collectathons. There's a lot of people out there who just enjoy like running around and getting every single thing and interacting with every little detail. That's not really how I play, but that's just me. Anyway, what the heck was I even talking about? Dang. Something collectathon related. Oh, Cubivore. Oh yes, I feel like that's, I don't know. I just I don't like when games are like, hey, you beat this thing, but you didn't beat it enough. Um, which I guess in a lot of collectathons, to be fair, it's like a little more obvious. Like, hey, you should get as much as you can from this world before you move on, because that's the whole point. But in Cubivore, it never like tells you like, hey, make sure you're getting all the things because you need that to beat the game. And you get so far into the game, and then which because I've never beaten the game because I refuse to go back and get all the things because I'm too lazy. But I assume the fourth baby is the final baby. Um, so yeah, if not, then the game's too long. But it's a cool. I don't know. I always liked the game despite its many flaws. I can see why I didn't really do well though, but I would have liked. I would like to have seen like I don't know, not a remake, but like a similar type of game, uh, but executed better, I guess. I like the aesthetic too, like the blockiness of it. I don't know. It was a weird game, and it was interesting to look at, and it was fun times for little Lito. Uh, but yeah, I don't know. GameCube's cool. GameCube had good water. Uh, Mario Sunshine. That's another game that I don't like to actually sit down and beat, but actually I don't really like playing that game at the beginning because the game for me usually doesn't really get fun until you can actually start going in the worlds. But I feel like it's like 30-40 minutes of game before you can actually get to the first world, which is really lame. But I guess that was at the point when a lot of games were trying to be really cinematic and have a story. Yeah, I also don't really care for like that last world you have to do to get to Bowser. That was annoying. And I don't know. It was cool though. It's a good game. It has a lot of flaws, but overall good game. Good game. I remember the mantis level where you have to fight like the paint mantas. That was always really hard for me, but some people have told me that it was really easy, so I don't know, maybe I suck. Um, I like the last little area before that's like on top of the shine statue that like the little volcano ish world, because you know the one where there's like there's like that chain chomp mission where you have to like spray the chain chomp and then you have to go get it. You have to drag it around to get it clean. You know what I'm talking about if you've been there. I don't know what my favorite. I always really like the blooper race too, and the blooper fights. I don't know why, but those are always fun for me. I think that's usually where I play to. Actually, if I play the game, is I'll play up to that first blooper fight and then I'll stop. But I'm actually on that game since it's been a while since I played that one. I used to own it and I lent it to somebody. I'm pretty sure it was one of my cousins, and I never had it back. Same with Smash Bros. Sad times. Yeah, I don't know. This was a ramble, I guess. I didn't even. If you were expecting me to actually talk about things, that's your fault. I don't know. Yeah, so I guess I'm gonna end off here. So sleep well, or if you're not sleeping, have a good day. And I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye. Mwah.